Hello, this is my video presentation for the Michigan FFA State Science Fair. My project was on small-scale microfiltration. Before I begin, I would like to explain what microfiltration is. Microfiltration is the process of cleansing water through the use of biodegradable components, such as mushrooms. The question for this experiment was, will a homemade microfilter perform better than a sand filter? There are several factors that had to be taken into consideration, such as contaminants present in the water before and after, the pH of water after the tests, comparison of results graphs after the tests, and a visual comparison of the water color before and after. Living within Adrian, several bodies of water throughout the city have been slowly affected by negative factors, including oils, grease, and heavy metals. Background research I have done has shown that fungi has been able to break down heavy metals present within water. Microfiltration was first introduced in 1993 by Paul E. Stamets and has been the center of numerous projects and studies ever since, including this one. Fungi have been known to grow in almost any possible condition, even if under stress. Fungi is also known to produce a variety of antibiotics within itself that can impair or kill bacteria. My hypothesis for this was, if I change the filtering material present within homemade filters, one with oyster mushroom spawn and the other with sand, then the filter with the fungi filtering material will cleanse rainwater at a more effective rate than the sand, because fungus has the ability to absorb contaminants due to their white infrastructure, while sand filters have to constantly be drained from the rinse water left over, which can hold remaining contaminants. My approach for this was this. My independent factor would be the fungi filter. My dependent factor would be the quality of the water beforehand. And the control would be the sand filter. I did not replicate this experiment. This is the list of materials that would be necessary. Layered soil sieves, such as the picture below. Any kind of straw that you can happen to find, it doesn't really matter the specifics. A box of oyster mushrooms, preferably ordered online in a grow kit, sand from wherever you can acquire it, gravel from wherever you can acquire it, rainwater from wherever you can acquire it, an Instapot used to sterilize the straw, plastic bags to put the straw in, reverse osmosis water just to help sterilize again, and a knife which will only be used in case the fungi starts blocking off the water. The methods for this experiment are this. In order to prepare the filters, you have to place the straw in the plastic bag and fill it with 1.5 cups of RO water. Fill the Instapot also with 1.5 cups of RO water, and then place the bag of straw in. Run the Instapot for an hour, then let it sit overnight. You will then take the soil sieves and stack 5 on top of a water collection pan. Take one of the filters and fill each sieve with straw and mushrooms. Take the other filter, only place straw in the top and bottom sieve, and then fill the rest of the sieves with sand and gravel. Once the filters have been prepared, you are ready to start the experiment. Using the rainwater, run about 200 milliliters of it through each filter once a day for a week. Test the water beforehand to fully understand the change afterwards. Test the water from both filters once on the first week, and again on the second week for its phosphate, ammonia, nitrate, nitrogen, and pH levels. Collect data from the water test results and format it into graphs. And there's a little side note at the bottom, like I said, the knife is just to grow mushrooms if they block water. These are the results graphs for my project. Here you can see for the pH results that at the start, the pH was around an 8.8. After the first week, the sand filter had reached about a 7.8 and the fungus filter a 7.4. On the second week, as you can see, it went from about a 7.4 to maybe 7.5 for the fungus filter, but then for the sand filter, it went back up to 8.2. For the phosphate results, you can see that at the start, the regular water had a phosphate result of 1 part per millimeter, or part per million. Then in the first week, the sand filter had stayed the same, while the fungus filter had gone down to 0. Then in the second week, the sand filter again had stayed the same, while the fungus filter had risen to 2 ppm. In the ammonia results, you can see, again, at the beginning, the base water only had maybe 0.25 ppm for ammonia. Then on the first week of testing, the sand filter, also about 0.25 ppm, with the fungus filter having 0. Then on the second week is where you can see the most drastic rise, with the sand filter reaching maybe 0.50, while the fungus filter reached 8. That was a little concerning. Here is the table, including all of the results from everything. Here is a picture. The water on the left is the fungus water after the first week, and the water on the right is the sand water after the first week. The jar on the left is the rainwater before the testing began. The picture in the middle is of the pH testing, with the vial on the left being the sand water and the vial on the right being base rainwater. The one on the right is the ammonia testing, with the vial on the left being base rainwater and the vial on the right being the sand water. Here's a picture of the fungi filter itself. You can see the straw slowly degrading while the mushroom takes over. It's very evident in this picture on the left that the fungus took over. The picture on the right is of the sand filter, where the straw on the top had started growing a black and orange mold. I'm unsure how this affected the water, but it was interesting to see nonetheless. There's a picture of the gravel and the sand from the filters. Discussion. The fungi filter had performed better in the pH test in total, while it performed better than the sand only in the first week. In the second week, the sand filter had performed better than the fungi filter in the ammonia and phosphate tests. Proper management and funding could lead to better results from the fungi filter in future projects, along with the possibility of crafting a better filter, as this was made from rudimentary materials that were present at the time. There were very few complications with the experiment, such as the mold growing in the sand filter and the fungi water reaching a level of 8 ppm, which I wouldn't necessarily consider a complication, but I left in there anyway. A different type of mushroom could be used, which could lead to different results, such as the garden giant mushroom, or Stropharia rugoso annulata, which has been shown as one of the most effective in previous experiments. Here is citation lists, such as the rural communities in southern Nigeria, the implement fungal cultivation and biofiltration systems, and harnessing fungi to clean polluted water. Here's a picture on the left is of the first possible design, or no, that was the second design. That was the one that I went with. And then the one on the right was of the first design, which was quickly scrapped as I could not find PVC pipe. Here's a picture of the graph written down in the notebook. Then I would like to give a quick shout out to Paul E. Stamets, the founder of microfiltration. If it wasn't for him, microfiltration would remain unknown for the most part, as it still is, but he is basically the entire reason it has the foundation that it has. I would like to thank you, and this is the end of my presentation.